you played, right? And then things change, right? When you get hit in the face with something. So then as I got older, it became, I'm not going for this anymore. I'm not doing that. So when football came into my world, it was an empowerment for me. And then for it to be taken away was, to me, discrimination. Now, what do all people, especially black people, and especially black women, and all women face? Discrimination, right? So how dare you tell me I cannot do something because of my gender, okay? Because of my race, because of my height, weight, age, it doesn't matter. You don't stop me. The only one that can stop me is myself.
Yeah.
Right? So you gotta, thank you. You need to find the power, right, of belief. And so I remember when I started playing pro football, I was 42 years old, right? 42, and I literally was smoking a cigarette. I don't smoke anymore. But I was smoking a cigarette, drinking a 40 ounce. And it was that I was at home and the real estate market crashed. Long story short, I had time on my hands because whatever it is I do, I go all in. Because no one practices to be a backup. Take that in for a second, right? So the real estate market crashes and I wasn't accustomed to having time. So I start messing around the computer, and then I happened to come across women's pro football team tryouts. And I say it's a coincidence, but it really wasn't. I know God was giving me something that he knew I needed so that I could give the world what he wanted me to give to the world. Right? And so when I was looking at this on the computer, women's pro football, last team tryouts this Saturday and it's Wednesday, I'm like, pick up the... And I'm thinking maybe I drank too much of this, right? But the point of it is that I went, and I was looking for every excuse not to go. But I knew I needed to be there because women playing football on a professional level was something unheard of to me if you wouldn't let me play when I was a little girl. Right. So I made my way over. I finished my cigarette, I finished the beer because we're not going to waste it, but I started working out. You know, and so here's the thing, the beauty of it all is that through hard times comes good times if you stick with the good times, right? So you got to come sometimes from dirt to grow. Okay, so I was growing. I was eating raisins and oatmeal and working out, and I went to these tryouts, and they were telling me I had to wear football cleats. And I'm thinking, why would I have football cleats? The world doesn't let me play football. And I'm definitely not going to buy these $40, $50 cleats to use one time because I'm not going to make the team. I'm 42 years old. Clearly I was, doing some other stuff. And so I didn't think I was going to make the team, but I owed it to myself to go see it. Women, defying the odds. So I went there just to experience it. When I got out of my car and I saw 45 to 50 women playing football with helmets on and cleats and shoulder pads and numbers across their chest and their back and coaches yelling at them, I was like, oh, I'm making this team today. And so I made the team, right? And what happened was, interestingly, I turned into a strong Collette that I hadn't seen since I was probably 8 or 9 years old, right before the world ate me up a little bit. So now, I'm a better version of my little girl self as I'm growing, right? So then when you think about it, I started getting scared because a lot of times fear is of the unknown, right? And so these girls were better than me on the football field, and they were much younger. I thought I knew football, but when it comes to coaches and playbooks and schemes, I didn't know anything about football at that point. But I thought I knew it all. So I was scared. Then the girls played better. So I was thinking, maybe this is not for me. But I kept going. God said, keep going. The only way out is through. So I kept going. And what happened was I discovered that I was just as good as anybody else because I was using my brain. The girls were using physicality to get somewhere, but I was like studying gestures. There's a thing in football called watching film. Same is applicable in basketball or whatever sport, watching film. So if you watch enough film, you're studying, is what you're doing. You're studying your opponent. So if the wide receiver if you watch enough film, the ball went to her. This one might do this. Oh, ball going to her. So I'm lining up right on this chick right here. Let's go. Right? So you're an athlete that's half my age. We might get there together to get you. Right? But I may not have gotten there on my own based on my physicality. Because I was 42, I wasn't in the greatest health, back problems and all kinds of stuff. But I got there because I was a scholar of the game. All that being said, I say that because we can be a scholar of this world, right? I can be a scholar of how to make sure my kids get to school, and not just any school, a good school, right? So there's always more work to be done if you dare look. You have to look to see sometimes. So my company, I was telling you outside for a quick second, when I started coaching with the New York Jets, in 2017, I remember saying, I've got to share this experience with other little black girls and little black boys that are from the hood that just think that their 8-block radius is their entire life. So if their dad's in prison, well, they'll probably be in prison too, is what they're thinking. If their mom works for the post office, then that's what I'll be too. Or if my grandma's on welfare, that's what I'll be. No, you break the cycle. So God had already given me some tools, so I'm gonna go out here and talk about it to my people. And so I started doing that. And I remember when I left football camp with the New York Jets, this is before they hired me, and Coach Bowles, the head coach, a brother, a black man, the head coach, was very rare, said to me I should work for this organization. I said, I agree. And I meant it too. And so I was very happy to hear that. He said to bring a resume. I went to my car to drive back home from Jets camp. And I called my dad, because I always tell my parents where I'm going. Somebody's gonna know where I am at all times. I don't care how old I am. Period. Right? Tell somebody. So I get in the car and I said, Dad, can you believe this? Can you believe? And he goes, wait a minute. How was practice? It was cool, right? Because it was private, but I was allowed to go. So I said, yeah, look, dude, we'll talk about that later. But guess what? Can you believe that the head coach of the New York Jets said I should work for this organization? Dad, can you believe that? And my father started realizing that maybe I didn't. So he said to me, Collette, I can believe it. Wow. I'd be more proud of you if you believed it. So I chewed on that the whole way home. And eventually, when I started officially working with the New York Jets, and I decided to start my own company called Believe in You Incorporated. And Believe in You Incorporated came to be because of what my dad spoke to me about. And I needed to give that to maybe kids that didn't have a dad like me, right? So each one teach one. You gotta give it, you gotta pay it forward, you know? And I deserved it, and I stay angry a lot, even though I'm really happy about stuff, but I stay angry because I get fired up.
Yeah.
And I get fired up about things that shouldn't be.
I like that.
But I know how to change them now.
Yeah.
So one kid at a time, let's go. I might even tell them to line up. Give me 2 lines. Right? But we gotta do it. We gotta get their attention and make things happen. Change only comes when you start, right? And I was telling you in the car earlier that, like, when people say, oh, I want to be 100, I'm like, that's 100, that's fly. Yeah, that's fly. You want to get that, but you're giving 50%. You'll never get to 100, giving 50%, or even 75%. Do more. Do more. And so, Believe in You came to be. I left the New York Jets, and the head coach was actually really shocked that I said I was leaving. He's like, Collette, coaches don't leave, like, unless we fire them. He goes, you're what? And I said, I've got to take this platform that God gave me to utilize it to empower my people, and little girls, and black boys, and women, right now. And I think because my destiny wasn't to be a coach in the NFL. You wouldn't let me have that dream. How could I have that dream when I'm a kid and you won't let me play? So that was never my dream. What it was my destiny. The destiny in me is greater than the storm around me. So now I'm having a really hard time because I'm thinking, oh, I'm the bomb. I'm the first black woman to coach in NFL history. I'm the first female to coach in New York Jets franchise history. I got Believe in You Incorporated. I'm about to blow this up. That's not what happened. So now I went from paying bills easily without a thought to struggling. Every day. And I was like, how to pay my bills? I couldn't do it because I just thought everyone's gonna be paying me all this big money from Amazon. Everyone. It wasn't happening like that. So I told my father, I said, I'm gonna give it up. I tried, Dad. I thought I could do this, I thought it would work. I gave it the good old college try. And he goes, I can't stop you, but you put so much work into this, I would think you shouldn't, but I can't stop you. I said, you want me to borrow another $1,000 from you to pay my mortgage this month? He's like, well, you gotta do what you gotta do. So I had an appointment that I had made because 2 weeks earlier I had confirmed an appointment that I would be at. And your word is your bond. So if you say you're gonna do something, you do it. Or you show me proof why you can't. I need to see the proof. So I took this meeting even though I was gonna let Believe in You Incorporated die out. And I was walking down, I don't remember if it was 5th Avenue or Park Avenue. I was walking in Manhattan and I was down the street and some woman said, I heard someone say, Coach. Yeah. So I stopped and this woman said, do you remember me? And I said, no, I don't. She says, well, you spoke at a school. And I said, I speak at lots of schools. Yeah. And she named the school and I said, oh, I remember that day. Yeah. And she says, well, you just weren't speaking to the kids because I was a teacher's aide that day and you spoke to me as well. Now remember, I said to you, I was going to give up Believe in You Incorporated. When she said to me, in the street, random, she said, I left my abusive boyfriend.
Because of you.
I moved out of his apartment. I went back to college. I have my degree now, and I am a teacher at that very school. For about 30 million hours, it felt like. The first thing I did was this, and I was like, oh, I see you. All right, you told me, keep going. So here I am, Here I stand, and here we stand, because we are stronger together. It's things like this that keep us moving the needle. And until we can stop saying, I'm the first, and it's a big deal, we have work to do. So game time. Let's go. Thank you.
Quick question.
I feel like I should play football right now.